Hey, good morning, Griff. What do you know? That obstacle course training does come in handy. Oh, no time for sleeping today, Steph. The schedule has you teaching 4 periods of instruction, back to back.
I'm getting a real workout so far.
Well, you've been here how long? 2 weeks? Heck, you're almost a veteran.
It's pretty early in the morning to be motivated. Never mind motivating other people. But I'm ready.
Welcome back, sir. How was the course?
Fine, thanks. Still learning something new every day. Thanks.
You have your work cut out for you already, sir. There's been a lot of action around here. We have a couple of new instructors on board, and we're in the process of implementing the new PER system. It's called the CFPAS, the Canadian Forces Personnel Appraisal System.
Well, judging from the mail on my desk, there won't be room for both me and my in-basket. Actually, I must admit I've heard about the CFPAS, but I'm not totally up to speed on it. As you well know, you tend to turn into a mushroom when you go on course.
Fortunately, there are a lot of resources available to help people who are just learning the new system, including videotapes, software, and a manual containing sample forms, guidelines, and aide-memoire for both supervisors and members.
Didn't they already change the forms and software before I left?
The changes from last time were minor by comparison. This time, the entire system has been modified, and they've added a whole new dimension that will help us develop our people better. What's great is that the changes aren't coming from the top down. Finally, people in the field were consulted, and their input helped make up the new system.
So, what are the big changes, Warren?
Well, at first I thought it was just forced leadership, but after a second look, I think it's just giving us some tools to help us manage and develop people. For instance, now everyone gets a chance to formally speak with their supervisor several times a year, to find out what is expected of them, and to get feedback on how they're doing. This process is called the Personnel Development Review, or PDR process, and it ensures that there won't be any big surprises when you get your PER.
CFPAS, PDR, must be a Florida NDHQ where all they do is think up acronyms. Well, I know the Air Force and the Army have quarterly reports and post-exercise assessments, and the Navy has the divisional system. I guess the new system is trying to standardize some things across the Canadian Forces.
You know, sir, I didn't join to be a paper pusher, but I got to admit, I think it's great that soldiers will know exactly what's expected of them, and will have a chance to sit down with their supervisors and discuss their strengths and weaknesses, and what can be done to improve their performance.
Well, I guess the sailors and people on flight line will know too.
Do you want a briefing on the new system, sir?
Sure. Let's schedule a time right now. How much time will I need to get on the CFPAS fast track?
About an hour. How's tomorrow, 9 a.m.?
No, I have to meet the commandant then. How about 12 o'clock?
Yep, can't do. How about Wednesday, 13:30?
14:30's better. I'll have a coffee waiting for you.
Have you seen this newsletter on a new CFPAS?
Well, as a matter of fact, I had my first PDR meeting last week. Talked about my current job, my strong points, things I need to work on, and I also had a chance to discuss my career, what kind of taskings I'd like to get, and where I hope to be posted.
Well, I'm not sure this kind of career counseling will do me much good. There aren't many promotions in my trade right now.
Hang on. We talked about a bunch of other stuff too. It's a great chance for me to discuss my ideas and what I think I can contribute to this job. Hey Steph, I think the new system's a real improvement for another reason. We get more input. We even get a chance to list all our accomplishments and discuss them with our supervisors at each meeting. Even better, now they'll consider our potential, not just the stuff we've already messed up.
Yes, sir. We'll meet at 14:30 Wednesday.
Actually, Warren, since you have the kit, we'll meet in your office.
Okay, sir. I guess I'll have the coffee ready.
Warren, I'll bring the popcorn.
You know, the new process will also apply to officers.
That's good news. In the places I've been posted, officers haven't received much feedback. Except, of course, if you make a mistake. Then you get more than enough.
I recommend we hold a training session for all our staff to get everyone up to speed on the CFPAS. We can use the video and instruction manual. They've even included a graphics presentation in our unit package.
Fine idea.
So, what exactly happens in these meetings? Last year, all I had to do was sign my PER on the dotted line.
Well, now, at the beginning of the reporting period, you'll know what's expected of you in terms of duties, and you can discuss specific aspects of your performance and develop a career plan with your boss.
Well, I hope this is the only piece of equipment I'll need. I really don't know what my career plans are.
Well, you can talk over your options with your boss. Speaking of meeting, isn't Warren Hemphill your supervisor?
Oh,
Hello, Master Seaman Messier.
hello, Warren.
Are you ready for our meeting tomorrow?
I'm totally prepared. Mind you, what should I have done to prepare myself?
Set aside about an hour tonight. This outlines what you have to do before our meeting. We'll discuss duties and tasks and the performance results I expect. Seems a little formal, Master Seaman, but think of any questions you may have about what you're going to be doing here, and be prepared to discuss them at our meeting.
I guess I have some preparing to do. Well, with this new system, maybe they'll make command chief out of me yet.
This does have potential.
I'm glad you see it that way.
No, I mean the word potential. It's on every page.
The biggest thing with the new CFPAS is that for the first time we have to separate the assessment of performance from potential. By performance, we mean how well the individual is doing at their job. By potential, we mean what potential the individual has for promotion to the next rank. For example, we could have a great technician with just average potential for promotion because he or she is just an average leader or supervisor. On the other hand, we could have a good performer with exceptional potential for promotion because of great leadership qualities. On the new PER, assessing potential is as important as evaluating performance. That means that performance at your current rank won't be the only criteria for promotion anymore. Here's where you really should read the manual. There's a whole set of factors to consider in determining potential for promotion. Using these factors and a potential rating scale, the supervisor decides whether a member has the ability to perform at the next rank level, then makes a recommendation. Also, to assist in assessing performance, did you know that there's a word picture booklet which describes the performance level by rank for each performance factor? Another reason to have a look at the CFPAS materials.
What else is new in the CFPAS?
As a matter of fact, there are some slides in the briefing package our unit received which talk about all the new features. The old system had some limitations. It didn't really give people thorough feedback in support of their development. That's why the PDR process was introduced. In addition, your performance is now rated in relation to how well you do on the tasks laid down in your PDR interview, whereas before, your performance was rated in comparison to your peers. That led to problems, especially if everyone in your peer group were Wayne Gretzky's. A person didn't have a chance of getting good performance ratings in that kind of situation. In addition, high score controls have been removed since they reduced the accuracy of ratings. Let's talk about the PDR process in a bit more detail. It has 2 steps. Step 1 is the initial interview. Step 2 is the feedback interviews.
We're all busy. This sounds pretty time-consuming. You, for one, will have a lot more interviews to conduct.
When I do them, I take them one at a time, and the job doesn't seem so big. Regardless, we owe it to our people to take this time with them. Step 1 is the initial meeting, to establish critical tasks and expected results, as well as an action plan to determine what tools our people need to get the job done, whether it be some informal training on a computer program or a piece of equipment they've never used before, or a briefing session like this one on new procedures we're using in the Canadian Forces. Take, for example, my next interview with Master Seaman Messier. First, I look at his training schedule. What is he teaching? How busy will he be? Then I consider the secondary duties that I'll be giving him. I also looked at his MOC specs to get a feel for the typical career path of someone in his trade. And I reviewed the specialty specs for instructors just to refresh my memory. Finally, I reviewed his purse file and UER to determine what courses he'd completed and how he'd done so far in his career. Look at this, sir. These specs used to be in a dusty old set of binders in the orderly room. Now it's on CD or online. Look, see? It even includes pilots. Anyway, to continue. Before the first meeting, the supervisor completes Section 1 of the PDR form. That should do it in preparation for the initial meeting. Now that we've gone over your job description as an instructor, let's review what I'm expecting and how I'll be assessing your performance throughout the year. There are several major areas I'll be observing. These will allow me to get a sense of your strong points and what you need to work on. First, you must be a role model for the students by ensuring that your dress and deportment are beyond reproach. Second, ensure students are given the opportunity to demonstrate leadership skills so that they may be fairly assessed when placed in a command role. Third, you will be observed in terms of how well you counsel these students on their progression and abilities on the course. And fourth, I will be looking for your efforts in terms of promoting cooperation and teamwork among the students. Do you have any questions so far?
How will you be assessing my classroom skills?
I'll sit in on some of your classes throughout the year to watch you deliver lesson plans. Overall, I expect you to be fair and firm. You should practice situational leadership, which, as you might remember from your instructional course, means using the right kind of leadership style in a particular situation. For example, an autocratic one-way style of leadership is appropriate when your students are firing on the ranges. But in a PDR interview, like this one, it's best to use a two-way, open communication style. That way, both parties know what is expected and what they are responsible for doing.
Great. Speaking about this interview, what else will I be assessed on?
I will also be looking to see how you resolve problems with the courses. Scheduling conflicts, student problems, perhaps a test is too easy or difficult for a PO. Also, I expect you to plan your schedule so that you have adequate time to prepare lessons, conduct proper administration of the course, and counsel students. To assess your counseling skills, at the end of the month, I will be sitting in on several of your student interviews. Here's a checklist of the kinds of things that I'll expect you to do when you're counseling students. Your writing skills are also important. Recording information on the students and translating it into course reports. I will see your written note, and other supplies will be requisitioned at least 1 month prior to their use on your courses. Finally, you must ensure the safe and efficient use of these resources. Any questions on these duties or how I will observe them?
No warrant. All clear so far.
As far as secondary duties, have you been a DA holder before?
No, I haven't.
Okay then. I'll put in the PDR initial action plan to check with base supply to find out when the next DA holders course is being held. So I guess that's it. You have part 1 of the PDR form, and by our next session 4 months from now, I'll need a list of accomplishments from you. At that session, we'll also talk about your career development.
Thank you, Warrant.
Step 2 of the PDR process is feedback. There will be at least 2 feedback sessions each year, one mid-cycle, and the final one is a PER interview.
Warren, have they clearly defined what kind of feedback we should provide?
Yes, sir. Before the first feedback session, The supervisor reviews the critical tasks and expected results and notes made on the subordinate's performance. The feedback sessions set the stage for the performance evaluation process because the PDRs are collected. From these and other relevant documents such as course reports, the supervisor comes to a decision on how the subordinate should be rated on the PER. Have a look at my comments. I took into account the list of accomplishments which you gave me yesterday. Your work has certainly been good overall, and your instructional skills are very strong, which is something that doesn't come easily to a lot of people.
Warrant, what did you mean when you wrote that I needed to work on my writing skills?
When reviewing your notes on the students, I noticed a lack of detail. It's very important to maintain comprehensive notes in order to closely monitor students' progress.
You're right. Thank you, Warrant. I'll work on that.
Many supervisors will want to have another feedback session after 3 or 4 months, particularly if there are areas that require improvement. The final feedback session takes place during the PER interview. After the formal PDR feedback sessions are completed, the final step is the performance evaluation process. The first step is preparing for the PER. The supervisor gathers observations, such as PDR documentation, supervisory notes, course reports. As outlined in the manual, he or she uses performance assessment factors and the associated word pictures to rate performance, and uses the potential factors and the potential rating scale to assess potential. The supervisor then prepares written narratives on both performance and potential.
I notice that we now use the same PER form for the ranks of corporal through lieutenant colonel.
Yes, sir. In addition, the same PDR and PER forms will be used by the Army, Navy, and Air Force. They previously used divisional or quarterly reports. Now their systems will be standardized.
Have we reached the PER interview?
Yes, sir. It's the final part of the performance evaluation process. During the interview, the supervisor and soldier discuss performance ratings and the supervisor's observations. Let's go back and review the year and what we discussed at your last feedback session. You're doing a great job. Since our second session, you've worked hard on preparing very thorough notes on the students, and your counseling skills have really improved. To recap, we've verified all the information on this form, the PDR documentation and your job performance, and we've discussed the resulting ratings and performance. We've also talked about your career plans and your potential for promotion. Have you any questions?
Believe it or not, no. I thought I'd be confused, but it all looks good to me.
Good. We'll meet in a couple of weeks to start the PDR cycle again.